What is up, everybody? Real estate investor Sav. We're back in the South Windsor project, the legal conversion, and I just wanted to give you guys an update, and more so for the problems that we've been having in the project, so you guys don't make the same mistakes. All right. So in the last video, you know, the objective of this whole project was to split everything, utilities, split meters, water meters, split electric meters, gas meters, the whole shebang. Because you want to do that the first time and not come back to do that later. It's just going to cost us more money since we're ripping out this whole basement and doing it from scratch, right? So just some problems that we had. So you know, we trenched this whole thing out. That was where the old water meter was, and then we're putting it into the shared utility room, which is another discussion by itself. So you know, we're going to have two laundries over here for each of the units, and the furnace is going here, the common furnace, right? And back down here is where the 2 meters are going for the water. Okay, so in order to do that, we had to trench the ground, but here's where the issue started. Now we can't have the upper unit, which is now tenanted, without water. So we had to do it in bits and pieces. First move it over, and there's the meter right there, and we've not even split it yet. Okay, just so the upper tenant can have utilities. The next challenge is the chimney. Okay, so when you buy these older homes, you have these older chimneys where used to vent the hot water tank and the older furnaces. Now in our case, we didn't have an issue with the furnace because that was actually upgraded by the previous owners, but we still have the water tank vented out of this old chimney. I can't take out the chimney without taking out the water tank, obviously, because the tenant's not gonna have hot water. I can't take out the water tank before I stick in my new water tanks in the utility room. So that kind of stopped us, and we said, okay, we got to do that in bits and pieces. So what we did first is obviously get the heat moved over, which is the furnace that you see here. My guys are working right now. Mastro's HVAC. If you want a good HVAC company, that's where it is in Windsor. DM me for their contacts. But here's the old furnace. We're moving it into the utility room, so both the upper and lower get the heat. Once that is connected, we can actually move the hot water tank, or we're actually going tankless in this particular case, right there on the back panel over there. So we can have, you know, water for both units separately on separate lines, which means we can get rid of this thing, which is a Reliance rental. By the way, if you go with Mastro's, and I think any other HVAC company, they can actually return this thing, even though it's rental, without paying a penalty. So side note, you know, there's your tip for the day. There's a form that HVAC companies can fill. As long as they take it and give it back to Reliance, you can get out of the contract free. At least that's what I understand in Windsor. So DM me for that too if you want more information on that. Once that hot water tank goes, I can actually start breaking down this furnace. And here's another thing. So I found that this furnace goes all the way up to the chimney. This chimney goes, sorry, chimney, not furnace, but chimney goes all the way up to the roof, and it is brick once we go up to the main floor and then up to the attic, which kind of sucks because now I got to take this whole thing out in pieces with a tenant living in the upper unit, right? So this is all about planning, guys. You got to keep in mind that, listen, it's nice to have the cash flow when you rent the upper unit while you're doing work in the basement, but you better be sure that you have really, really accommodating tenants up there, because there's a lot of work going on in bits and pieces. You got to plan it out. You got to phase it out correctly in order to keep this project going. Otherwise, you're going to have delays. I can tell you on this particular one, we have at least a 4-week delay, just because we had to plan and schedule everybody to come in at the right time. The plumber comes in, does his work. The HVAC guy comes in, does his work, goes back out. The electrical guy comes in, does his work. The framers come in and do their work. So for example, back here in this utility room, in order to put those tanklesses up, we had to frame, right? Without the frame, we can't put the tanklesses up. And we couldn't frame until we pulled out all the old plumbing. So you can see all the PEX over here that we replaced. It used to be copper. That was stuck up against the wall. We had electrical butted up against the wall that we had to pull out before we could frame. So there's a lot of planning and scheduling that you got to be aware of if you want the project to run smoothly, or in our case, if you don't want to have delays. We delayed about 4 weeks just because we had to line up everybody, you know, in order. But having said that, the project is going, you know, once it moves fast. So today We're actually going to be completed with that with the furnace in the other room there, and we can get heat on for the tenants. And then probably tomorrow or before the weekend, we're going to move this water tank, replace it with the 2 tanklesses. And then next week, we're going to start breaking down this chimney, and we'll be done closing up all of this stuff. So we'll have a clean floor, and we can actually start framing and finishing up this job. All right, guys, so you know what it is. Real Estate Investor Sav, one word, Real Estate Investor Sav. Hit me up on IG, YouTube, Facebook. If you want to be part of these kind of projects, if you want to partake in these kind of projects, or you need help in doing one of these yourself in the Windsor area, I'm your guy. I got the contacts. You can use my guys. I'm willing to share all of that, with you guys, so you don't have to have the same problems or issues that I had. But it's all about learning, right? It's all about action taking. It's all about doing. If you don't do, you'll never learn. So if you don't want to do and you want somebody else to do it for you, I'm the guy to call. Real Estate Investor Sav. Hit me up. All right. Catch you in the next one.